Now, there are likely preliminary issues that can be discussed, leading into further and deeper conversations as the day evolves. So you were speaking about Joseph's willingness, even our willingness to participate and expand your project, of which we have a great deal of admiration. And the reason this is now coming about is that over the many years, Joseph has ventured in different areas, some involving an expansion of exposure, increased exposure to the material. One could say that there may have been this mishap, that mishap, and this other mishap, or false start, and so on and so forth. Do you follow?
Yes. Yes.
However, one could also say that there is a high likelihood that the time might not have been the best, and that there was a need for further education. So there are different presenters or speakers that are coming to the forefront. Each have their areas of expertise, which also presents some of their weaknesses and the specifics of conversations that they are best at. So we have worked with Joseph behind the scenes to get him to test different waters, to get him to experience different potential venues. These have all been educational, but there was also a need to play with different potentials, to explore what would have worked, what would not have worked, what can best be brought about, and also a need to temper and expand Joseph's worldview, Joseph's abilities, and see what can best be produced from all of these situations. So just like a very fine sword will have gone into the fire multiple times, will have been tempered multiple times, hammered multiple times, the metals folded and hammered again and again to produce a very fine sword. So Joseph has had to undergo his various types of training. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
So now the sword is about to come out of the bucket of cooling water, and it is ready to be utilized. Not that Joseph is merely a puppet to be whisked here and there at our whim. On the contrary, he is the defining factor, and our particular interest has always been to work with what is best for Joseph, even though at times it might appear to be contrary to intention. The overarching intention has always been present and in the background, gently edging, urging, pushing along. Sometimes Joseph has to be pushed into an area kicking and screaming, but he will still do it. Do you follow?
Yes.
Yes.
So now it is that time when things can be brought about in such a manner that the best can be produced. Over the many years, we have delivered information of various kinds, some very challenging, some very intellectual, some less, but always the thrust is about presenting that which can produce immense personal growth, both in Joseph and those whom care to listen, to participate, to join, to have fun. Because even though the material at times can be quite heady, the idea is always to push those envelopes, not just an envelope, but the many envelopes that you juggle at various times in your lives. Does that also make sense to you?
Yes.
So now the opportunities present themselves in such a way that obstacles that may have been present in the past, that Joseph may have thought to have kept him back, actually were not keeping him back, as much as he has had to learn what can and cannot work best for him in this particular area. So now he is in a position where he is ready to hit the ground running. Though we prefer walking, still there is now an opportunity to use that which has been tempered, that which has been honed to a fine edge.
Lovely.